Think of a noise conspiracy. Okay, the singer of the International Noise Conspiracy was in a separate, very celebrated band that I've refused to talk about in this video. As a vocalist, he moved on to a different shape of punk, so let's instead hear this newer noise. Starts this way, technically a compilation of singles, and it kind of shows. I'd call this a prototype of their sound, and kind of their message too. It's still there, it's just not entirely there. It's got a very anti-records sound. Anti-records? Still alright as a scratchy little pseudo debut, but don't start here. I've got Survival Sickness, and feel free to start here. This hones the idea into a message, a polemic. Indeed, the booklet is full of scattered situationist rhetoric that apparently describes each of the songs. I'd recommend the songs themselves, that's the better way to take that message. It's real cool melodic stuff, the kind that would be the theme tune for a spy or something, but definitely a commie spy. An overtly political band serving up their manifesto. So the next thing to do was make an overtly brilliant album, and they did that. They've tightened up their garage punk into a kind of funk with organs all over it, and that's very much for the better, both in idiosyncrasy and in quality. This album fuses their political approach, their body politic, with personal insecurities, politics of the body, making it kind of manics and very compelling. There's an EP that technically has enough unique tracks for me to mention if there were anything interesting about it. Same vibe as Morning, it's from the same time, but just worse picks. And then they mix their horniness to the forefront a bit. Still political, but kind of a romance-festo. The production of this is very loud, and often to its detriment, and the song structures suffered a bit. They're going for something kind of Motown-like, and it works really well on the singles, but as a full album, it's a bit lesser. There's at least 2 different track lists you can get for this. This one has 2 bonus tracks, and it rearranges the other tracks, and before I found this version of the album, I generally didn't get it at all, but somehow just rearranging them and adding 2 admittedly less remarkable tracks to it made it a lot more viable as an album. To me, it feels like one of those controlled sellout third albums where they're obviously going for more obvious music, and they've got the right to, and it's occasionally great, just not thoroughly. Which leaves the narratively appropriate 4th album where they get their integrity back. There's some real articulate rock and roll, and it really delivers the message in a variety of ways. For another Rubin production, it's nicely subtle. It gets away from the problems of loudness of that last album. There's various bits that are barely distorted, but are still great rock. Kind of classic and lyrical rock. Lyrically, it's gotten a bit more spiritual, but they've avoided making that a detrimental factor. Musically, they're back on great form. I've noticed whilst recording this that it's a very similar career arc to Delays. Not similar musically, but it's what they're doing across their 4 albums. In this case, it doesn't quite match up to the classic, but it is the other classic. I was collecting B-sides for a bit, but they're just decent. There's a later band with some of the same members that I'm not throwing into this video, but it's still good stuff. They're still ongoing, maybe they'll merit their own video at some point. If my video were based around Dennis's music projects in total, it'd have so much to describe, including the 4-minute conspiracy segment you just watched. Look at him go.